Um, tonight's presentation is entitled Getting Started Powering Your Career, moderated by Schools for Children's very own Alex Sonis. He's the director of Seaport Academy, one of our 3 schools that serve students who've experienced learning and social emotional challenges. Now, I'm really excited to hear what this panel of experts has to say, but let me just say a couple more things about Alex and then I'll move on. Alex joined Seaport Academy as a school counselor in 1998, and 2 years later became the school's director. He's overseen Seaport's evolution from a small 12-student program into a successful all-boys, state-approved alternative high school for 28 students for grades 8 through 12. Under his direction, the program has developed a focus on experiential and project-based learning and includes a variety of maritime experiences. Alex will tell you more about himself and introduce tonight's other panelists. So let's get started.
Thanks, Paul. I'm not sure much more I could add about that. Again, I'm Seaport Academy's director. I've been the director at Seaport for roughly 21 years. Like Mary had said previously, this is sort of a topic that's near and dear to my heart. So with that said, let's get started. So I just want to welcome everyone to work in apprenticeships for powering a career. This is the 4th evening of Different Choices 2021 presentations, and we're very happy to have you all here. If I could get the slide up. Next slide. Fantastic. So we're here to talk about opportunities for those who choose a different path. This slide shows you some of the fastest growing job sectors for people without a 4-year degree. Green new jobs, new investments in infrastructure, a growing demand for healthcare services, and the changes in our economy will create lots of opportunities. Everyone here tonight knows that a traditional 4-year college right out of high school isn't the right choice for everyone. And I know for some students, when you are in a school surrounded by people talking about their college applications, that can be a complicated choice to make. Slide 2. Median salaries. But delaying or even not choosing a college experience doesn't mean that you must also give up career opportunities or even opportunities for learning. These are median salaries for just a few different jobs that do not require a college degree. Tonight, we'll explore some of the options. We'll dig into the world of apprenticeships and get into some of the nitty-gritty of actually preparing for a job. And if you come away with anything tonight, I want you to come away with this. This is not 4-year college versus the trade situation. Tonight, you'll discover that work and learning or training can take many forms. You can start a career and you can continue to learn. And each of these experiences can enhance the other. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce each speaker and give them an opportunity to tell us a little bit about themselves. I'd like to start with Zivan.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Outstanding. My name is Zivan Drake. I am a training coordinator with the North Atlantic States Carpenters Training Fund. We will get into a little bit more about my program further into the program, but we're a four-year apprenticeship program focused on careers in carpentry specifically. I myself graduated from the apprenticeship program that I'll be talking to you guys about this evening. And fun fact, I also took a gap year after high school. I did a year of college, ended up transferring, taking some time off and trying to screw my head on a little bit straighter. So I have a varied background as well, military, 4-year college, like I said, some healthcare experience. So the point out here is that the conversation about trying to send, there's billions of people in the world, and trying to send everybody down the same path is absurd in my eyes. So there's plenty of options out there. I'm certainly a testament to that. And I really look forward to talking to you guys throughout the next hour.
Thanks, Evan. Next, we have Dr. Jones.
Hi, Alex. Thank you so much. My name is Suzanne Jones. I am the job developer for CUNY Leads. I also am an adjunct professor at Nassau Community College and at LaGuardia Community College. I have the distinct pleasure of working in an environment where we link education to employment. And the beauty of it is oftentimes students have to leave school to work to understand where they need to be. So I'm excited to be on this panel to share what I know, to share what works for some that doesn't necessarily work for the others, and to just share all the opportunities that are out there. And it's a great evening of learning, and I look forward to being with you.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Next, we have Casey Johnson.
Hi, everybody. I'm Casey Johnson. I'm the apprenticeship program coordinator at Building Futures, which is a nonprofit pre-apprenticeship program based in Rhode Island. What we do is we help individuals gain the skills and knowledge to get into the construction trades, but we also do some work with apprenticeships that are outside of the construction trades. So I'm really excited to be here tonight to talk about all of the opportunities that we have, but also to really drive home the point that Alex spoke of earlier, which is that it's not one or the other. Apprenticeship is very much so in this day and age connected to college, and there are a lot of opportunities out there for both working and earning college credits or fully a college degree while you're in a program. So I just want to talk tonight really about some tips and tricks in order to be successful in apprenticeship and who apprenticeship works best for. So really excited to talk tonight. Thank you.
Thanks, Casey. And our fourth and final panelist will be Kevin Lopez.
Hi, folks. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, apologies for slight tech issues on my end. Thank you so much, Alex, for inviting and welcoming me to this panel. It's a great pleasure. I am the assistant principal at the High School of Art and Design in Midtown. It is an arts and CTE school, really in the heart of Manhattan. It's been around for almost 90 years, so it's really a landmark in New York City public education, and it's really an honor to be here. I'm happy to discuss, really what a CTE program really is all about, what makes our program unique and interesting in terms of building bridges between our classrooms and industry professionals, really within the digital arts and the traditional arts landscape in New York City and abroad. And like I said, it's a great pleasure to be here, and I'm happy to learn from other folks as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. Okay, before we begin, I've got a couple housekeeping items. First, I'd like to encourage people to wave their hands when they speak. Little wave emoji. I'd also welcome audience to put questions in the chat at any time. We'll either weave those into the discussion or save them for the end of our talk. And I'd like to let the panelists know to raise their hands that they want to jump in and add anything. And I'll make sure to keep an eye out for these hand raises. All right, so I'd like to jump in and start with our first topic. So this is about questions about student interests, prep, and readiness. Why make the choice of work? My first question goes to Kevin. As a teacher, what do you tell students who are leaning towards work rather than education after college?
That's a wonderful way to start this conversation. It's always a tricky one, especially considering the fact that there are standards, legitimate standards, really at the national, state, and local level that really push for college readiness. When you're in an environment like art and design, you realize that many of these students actually can start working. They have the skill sets to really start working, the technical skill sets to start working in the landscape immediately. We're also realizing that many of our graduating seniors from the High School of Art and Design in particular are going to a lot of these local, state, and universities around the country, and they're realizing that they're that much more prepared as a result of the education that they got at a school like ours, right? So our goal is to build out articulation programs at these universities so that our students really start off on the right note. And they're not just doing work that they've already learned, at the high school level. And that's obviously a little discouraging for many students that realize that the work that they were doing their sophomore, juniors, and senior years, and the work that they were doing with industry professionals and industry partners through our work-based learning is something that's becoming redundant when they enter the college level, right? So we want to be able to not only support those students and really kind of enhance the conversation with the universities and colleges to really promote them or promote the articulation partnerships, but also we also take, we note that, many industry partners of ours are articulating themselves that they're not necessarily looking for talent that has a college degree anymore. We have a partnership with BBDO, for example, and the chief executive of equity of that program, Jason Rosario, mandated and streamlined a new policy within that super important organization where they did not were not beholden to the standards of having to hire folks with college degrees, right? So that actually opened up the conversation around potentially looking at our talent pool to essentially find potential entry-level positions without folks having to go to college, right? So the conversation about the importance of college and going right into the industry is a very fluid one right now. We understand that students right now are realizing that they have the skill sets to jump into the workforce for really decent paying jobs. It's something that we certainly can't ignore, while also not negating the importance of college, right? We all know that, when someone asks me, as the assistant principal of art and design, is college important? College was certainly important to me, right? A person of color, someone that actually had to develop and build a network in that environment. So there are so many positive or benefits of going to college that we certainly do not want to negate. But at the same point, we also want to give students the opportunity to explore the professional landscape right away if they have the skill sets to do so.
Well, thank you. Casey, question for you. For students who are interested in work first, how would you advise that they get started?
Great question, Alex. So it's, apprenticeship, I will say, is really for individuals that are career driven. You'll hear that, I'm sure, from a number of our presenters tonight. So if there's an area that you're interested in, whether it be the construction trades, whether it be green economy, whether it's healthcare, IT, you name it, the best thing to do is actually start looking into the companies themselves that you know of, and also reach out to your CTE instructors or also your career counselors, guidance counselors about connections and apprenticeships that they might know of. So for example, but also in the community as well is a really great place. For example, when we're working with our individuals through our program, one of the places that we reach out to is our local building and construction trades council. Every state has one. So if you're interested in the construction trades or even transportation, reaching out to that building and construction trades council is a really good place to start the research around what unions and construction occupations are available in your area. But the other areas, the other industries, it's really great to kind of do the research around apprenticeship and see what's out there. Even on the federal website, apprenticeship.gov, is also a really great place to locate available apprenticeship opportunities in a variety of industries. So it's kind of difficult in the sense that it's not necessarily broadcasted very well from every single employer that they have an apprenticeship, but doing the research into companies and organizations that you're interested in or that have occupations or positions that you would consider being a part of is a really great place to start. But again, definitely connect with your either CTE programs at your schools and your guidance counselors to see if they have some connections as well.
Thank you, Casey. This is a question for Zivin. Zivin, this idea of readiness has come up in several presentations in this series. Do you think that also applies to students interested in work?
Yeah, so I said a couple of days ago, I was on another panel and I said, you're never going to be ready. Nobody is ever ready. There's really never a great or an ideal time to undertake anything, especially when it comes to your future and the potential. So my advice to counter kind of piggyback off Casey, join a pre-apprenticeship program, get your feet wet, get your hands dirty. You're never going to be ready. At some point, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone and you're going to have to take a leap of faith. Do as much research as you can. If something sounds interesting, go down that rabbit hole. Make sure you're getting good information and real information, of course, but really be honest with yourself. Keep it real with yourself and the people around you. And if it's something that you're interested in and really think you want to give it a shot, go for it. There is really no time like the present, and you're not going to know if you don't try. So get your hands dirty, get in there, but really, really be honest. I have never been ready for anything in my life, but like I said, you take a leap of faith and you trust that the research that you've done is good. You do things on a calculated whim. You hope for the best. You're not always going to get it right. And don't be so hard on yourself when you don't. Like I said, I mentioned I went to college for a year. It was a horrible fit for me. I didn't do my research. I was sort of led down that path because I didn't have any other option. There were no other conversations going on in my household about post high school. It was, you're going to college and that's the expectation. I took that time off. I wasted, $30,000 on tuition, and I didn't really learn anything. And I really needed to get my head screwed on straight. So be real with yourself. Take the time, take the space, but take a leap of faith at some point.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Jones, does getting a 4-year degree matter?
Interesting. I feel like I'm in Kevin's position now and Zivan, right? So as an educator, I would say it matters. I would say you can, there's always the opportunity to do both, to work and to get the 4-year degree. I always say that if you can do full-time, the saying that goes, one cocoa fills the basket. You do your classes one at a time and you work. I had the opportunity this week of sitting with a few officers while they recruited for the NYPD. I had no idea there were so many opportunities within the NYPD. But there are so many careers out there that allows you to work while you go to school. So a 4-year degree can come along the way. It's not, I should have it or I shouldn't have it. There's a fine line. And the beauty is that you can do both. And I work with the Students with Disabilities Office at Queensborough Community College. And a lot of our students at some point may drop off. And then, like Casey said, there's apprenticeship programs, there's the EMT program, there's a fire, and that's where we lead them to. Or they're not doing well in that track, we center them and say, why not get the experience in the area that you like, so you can come back with the skills to continue this degree. So I would say it is important because sometimes when you're competing, we see all these applications these days and they say, oh, you must have a 4-year degree. I always said you have to be in it to even compete. So I would think it is important from my perspective, yes, but it's nothing that is separate and apart from working. You can do both. I always worked and went to school. I went to school full-time and I worked full-time. Didn't seem like a big deal to me. It was just the journey that I took. And I see so many people do it. They go to school now, especially we're in an environment in the pandemic. We have all these asynchronous classes. We can go to school at night. We don't have to be in a physical space anymore. So we have the beauty and the luxury of doing both.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. Next question is for the entire panel. It's sort of a question that is near and dear to my heart, something that I see at the school that I work at, and certainly I see sort of in the world sort of around me. So the question is, what are the social and emotional challenges of making this decision, this decision to go to work rather than choosing right off the bat going to college? There seems to be a stigma attached, and it may be different in different communities, but there's certainly a stigma attached to choosing work perhaps over going to college.
I'm happy to chime in here. For me in my work, what I observe is that in order to be successful in the trades, you have to be able to work with a lot of different types of people who have different temperaments, who see things differently, who may or may not be patient with you at any given time, who might come into work with certain biases based off of absolutely nothing. So for me, those interpersonal skills of being able to manage conflict, self-regulate, have a level of self-awareness, and be able to sort of walk away, take a deep breath, whatever coping skills and strategies you may have or need to develop are certainly going to be really crucial on our job sites. And just interacting with trades coming in behind you, trades next to you. I mean, there's just so many moving parts and pieces that it could potentially feel very, very overwhelming. And additionally, just navigating the system of apprenticeship, union membership in general, there is I've been involved in the industry for about going on 7 years, and I still sometimes have no idea what some people are talking about. So the constant barrage of information and trying to figure out where you fit into the system, certainly as a brand new apprentice, and then throughout the duration of a 30-year, fruitful, hopefully 30-year career, that's going to evolve and change. So you really have to have a level of self-awareness, adaptability, patience to be truly successful. And I'm not saying that you have to have all of that honed straight out of the gate. What I'm suggesting is that over time, you'll be able to evolve and hopefully make those accommodations and adapt in a way that will allow you to put money in your pocket and really continue to learn throughout the course of your career.
I can't help but to think that these days we hear a lot of students taking the gap year. And the gap year is a good year to find, if you're not sure what you want to do, to find yourself. And oftentimes I think finding yourself means work. It's not going to school, it's exploring internships, it's exploring apprenticeship programs. And I think that if you're unsure, that's a good way to go, because we've been so socialized into thinking that as you're done, you should go to school. There's this big rush. And it's not necessarily, not everybody need to be on that same wagon. And sometimes you really do need to take the time to mature, to find yourself, to see what you really, really want to do. I will have people do 4 years of college and you ask them what they want to do and they still don't know. So, I would say that that year, just to take a year to explore, to research, to find yourself, to see what you really want to do. What are you passionate about? What are you good at? What do you like? What don't you like? Am I going to go to a school away to waste my parents' money to come back to realize I didn't like it? Or do I want to stay home, close to home, where I have the support of my parents, where I can, it's easy, but I can work and go to school? These are all things to consider. And I think oftentimes if you're not sure, it's okay not to be sure. Get that time to know yourself, to find out, to see how you function amongst other people and in different situations, and volunteer. If you can't do any of those things, volunteer. You'll find your way.
I agree, wholeheartedly. And I think that if I may, I mentioned this earlier, the importance of college, on a personal level, I do see the value of developing, the network and developing the systems around you in order to help really elevate the possibilities and the opportunities that can present themselves later on in your career. Again, without forcing it, right? There are students that are very, very, very adamant about not going to college, to really kind of take advantage of that gap year, to explore, like folks are saying, to explore really, what their interests are, and also to really kind of like dip their toe into the professional landscape. Again, coming from a CTE environment, students are coming out with certain skill sets and certain certifications that really allow them to be competitive in the professional realm, particularly in the media arts and digital arts space. So, we certainly don't want to inhibit that curiosity to kind of explore what the possibilities are out there. But at the same time, when there's a student that's really kind of having a difficulty really knowing which direction to go, college can provide that opportunity to really explore yourself, right? Again, there are so many opportunities, at the local level that are, financially, accessible. And we really kind of steer kids in those directions to really take advantage of the CUNY school system, to really take advantage, of the SUNY system, which have really beautiful and robust programs now that are kind of tailored to industry standards. So again, aside from the fact that, we don't want to pressure students to making one decision over the other, really giving them an opportunity to holistically explore what really fits for them. College really is a viable option today to experiment, to explore, while also building that network that you're eventually going to need later on in life. So I certainly benefited from that network. College, I still, interact with folks that I went to college with. I still network with those folks. I've gotten job opportunities because of those folks. I mentioned, Jason Rosario at BBDO, he's a college friend, and we developed a partnership with his organization and my school. Why? Because we had a relationship from college, right? So these are actual tangible relationships and networks that you can build if you're not born into a network already. And unfortunately, many of our communities of color really have to build out those networks from scratch. And college is really a great platform and space to do so.
Kevin, I have a follow-up question from our chat. Can you explain what CTE is?
Yeah, so CTE within the context of at the high school level is a careers and technical education program. So the CTE office supports our school. We're also supported by the arts office. So we're technically, the High School of Art and Design is an arts and CTE program. CTE really is that bridge between the industry and our classrooms, right? So many of our students, all of our students actually are mandated to get a certain amount of work-based learning hours in order to graduate. Our students at the High School of Art and Design not only graduate with a Regents degree, but they also graduate with a CTE endorsed diploma, which means that they've accumulated up to 54 to 60 hours of internship hours. They're also essentially mandated to participate in some internship program at some capacity at some point in their high school career. But our kids also graduate with an arts endorsed diploma, right? So they have the trifecta when they graduate from the High School of Art and Design, which is really great. But in terms of CTE, we're supported by that office by connecting us with industry professionals who not only are part of our advisory board, they support our different majors by guiding us and giving us feedback on our curriculum. They give us feedback on essentially making it much more modern and tailoring it to trends that are current. So what's great about our institution, our school, is that because of CTE, because of the mandates and really the recommendations from the CTE office, we have to align ourselves with our industry partners in real time, which ultimately benefits our teachers and again, of course, benefits our students. So CTE is really kind of bringing in the industry into our school in a way that's very organic and just comprehensive.
Great, thank you. So we've thrown out a couple terms here. We've thrown out internships and apprenticeships. And one of our chat questions is, can somebody explain the difference between the two? Excellent question.
Very good question. So I'm actually going to throw in another one, which is pre-apprenticeship as well, to kind of just add another layer to it. But internships are experiential. They are a chance really to go and explore and to try out a position and to obviously gain some work experience, but they are usually temporary. And they are typically, some are paid, some are unpaid, but again, an internship tends to have an end point. It is very short duration. Sometimes they can be a bit longer, but it is really, again, just to explore. An apprenticeship is a job. It is you are a full-time employee from the day you start an apprenticeship. Now, it is a structured, on-the-job learning and training that happens. So you are learning the job as you do the job. There is education that is coupled with apprenticeship. So not only is there a structured training which happens on the job, but there's also additional education that is happening in conjunction. And that way you are becoming fully competent at that occupation while you are being paid to do that job and that occupation in that role. So again, an internship is just kind of an experience. It's really a taste. You get some work-based learning, but also training while you're in an internship. But again, it has an end point. An apprenticeship is a job. You are on the company payroll. You get the benefits, everything that comes with a job. So those are the major difference. Pre-apprenticeship is the preparation before an apprenticeship. So there are across the nation many different pre-apprenticeships in different occupations. There are definitely those in the construction trades, but also in others. And these are programs that are directly preparing you with skills and education that you'll need in order to do the apprenticeship. So they're really like the first step of an apprenticeship, the pre-apprenticeship. There is essentially at the end, there is a job waiting for you that is still structured with on-the-job learning and education. So it's the step before, but you are almost guaranteed a position at the end of pre-apprenticeship. Whereas with an internship, you are not necessarily guaranteed that you're going to get a position within that company. So that's why we're all kind of touting apprenticeship a bit so much, is that it is an occupation. It is a job from the day that you start, but you are learning on that job and you are earning. That learn and earn model is what apprenticeship is known for. So hopefully that was clarifying to everyone.
It is. And then, Casey, in the terms of students who go to college, we do a lot of internships. So internships from our end, it's oftentimes, sometimes you get credits. That's it, just to get the experience. For example, if you're doing a year in broadcast journalism, you may want to work at one of the headquarters that does the news. And what better place to get that experience, that short-term experience, get 3 credits for it, than by being in an internship. So, but Casey said it's short-term. So you're just doing it for maybe the semester. And at the end of the semester, you'll be done. And then now you have to go find a job. So the internship starts usually for this semester. It ends at the end of the semester. You get 3 credits. And oftentimes, if some of those internships are not credited, but you get experience to work maybe at the Met. And it's, the mayor's office has amazing internships for our students at CUNY. And a lot of times, if you don't get that internship, they find another internship for you. But the job oftentimes with our students with disabilities, because there's some focus here on students with disabilities, is that you get the opportunity to experience working in an environment you probably would not be able to do.
All right, thank you.
Alex, may I?
Oh, no,
I just
by all
wanted to
means.
mention something about an apprenticeship program might look like for individuals out there who might be curious. I'm not sure if this is a good time.
Excellent time.
Great. So our apprenticeship program, Carpentry Apprenticeship, is a 4-year program that's designed to bring you into our classroom for 640 hours over the course of that 4-year apprenticeship. It's broken down into 16-week chunks over the course of 4 years. We'll give you all of your intro type classes at the beginning. By the time you graduate your apprenticeship, you have spent at least 4,000 to 8,000 hours in the field receiving on-the-job learning with a contractor, as Casey had mentioned. That contractor is paying you your apprenticeship rate, which is usually a percentage of the full journey level rate based on certainly your level in apprenticeship. You're also accruing benefits, both your annuity and your pension, as well as your health and welfare. So 640 hours of classroom instruction. When I say classroom, I mean hands-on learning in our shops. We understand and fully appreciate the fact that a lot of people come to the trades looking for an opportunity to work with their hands in a really dynamic type of way. So we spend, unless you're taking a class with us that is specifically classroom based, like a blueprint reading class or an OSHA 30 or something like that, we don't want to sit there and beat people to death with a PowerPoint about a jack. Let's go out in the shop and use the jack. So apprenticeship is really great for individuals who are might not be auditory learners, but really want to get their hands on tactile and visual learning. And a pre-apprenticeship, holy smokes, is a really great way to dabble a little bit in a various trades and really try things on for a moment and prepare yourself. Our 4-year apprenticeship program, between the classroom instruction and the 4,000 to 8,000 hours that the DOL requires of you to complete that apprenticeship, is rigorous. And as I mentioned, it can get stressful. It can get hectic dealing with, construction still is real talk. It's a little rough and tumble out there. We're working on changing that culture of construction, but it's not going to happen overnight. So we have a ways to go. So a pre-apprenticeship is a really great way to get your foot in the door, try it on for a moment, and then come knock on our door if you think that was great, a great opportunity for you. And then we'll start your 4-year apprenticeship, and you will ideally be running work out in that field before you graduate our apprenticeship program. We are here to set you up for success in long-term sustainable careers out there in the construction industry.
Thank you. There's a question for Casey along the apprenticeships. We've kind of entered sort of this realm, and I just want to kind of stick with it for a minute or two. What are the benefits of apprenticeships, and what are the challenges of apprenticeships?
Sure. So there's a lot on both sides of that coin, but I'll just kind of scratch the surface, and anybody else feel free to jump in. But so for the benefits of apprenticeship, really one of the major ones, again, is that earn and learn model. You are not only being trained to do the occupation in which you are now part of, and obviously enjoying, hopefully, if that's the direction of your career that you want to go in, but you are earning a paycheck. You are making a living in that position. So that kind of earn while you learn is what apprenticeship is known for. Another really good one is obviously just most apprenticeships, especially in the trades, are really great pay and great retirement benefits and health and wellness, just like Zibin was saying. It's a rewarding career, but also, you are provided for and you are working for that, all of the great benefits. The biggest one that I will say is there is no debt. There are no college loans when it comes to apprenticeship. Your employer is investing in you. In the construction trades, the union invests in their apprentices, and by providing for their education, paying for that education, for them to either be a carpenter or a plumber or an electrician, all of that education is free. It's part of the training. It's part of the apprenticeship. The same thing can be said for other apprenticeships, depending on how they are created and what the standards are like. There is, college credit or a full degree can be built into the apprenticeship, which the employer pays for. So that is a massive, that kind of no college loans, no debt. You come out, you've been earning this entire time while maybe your friends were going to college and maybe they're working part-time at a grocery store and they're, making ends meet how they can. You were making a full salary while you were being trained into your position. So really great benefits from that perspective of being able to become independent, to live on your own, to have the financial backing to continue your education and become a master in your position. There are some challenges with apprenticeship too. The biggest one for the construction trades is obviously the environment with which you have to work in. It is, as Zibin said, it is not easy to work in construction. It is cold, it can be wet, it is hard physical labor. All of these things, the environment, you're working with a team. You also have a crewman or foreman, shouting out directions, shouting out guidance every day. So it is a lot to take, and it can be a bit overwhelming for a specific individual. But it is, again, there are great benefits to it if it's work that you're passionate about. Another thing could be the timing of classes and how the apprenticeship is set up. So for example, the construction trades, you work all day and then you go to classes at night. That is less time with your family. That is a lot of scheduling that needs to occur. That can be said, but sometimes that's not always the case. With IT, many of the classes are done during your workday. But it's also just kind of being on a different schedule. That's a challenge, but really the benefits outweigh those challenges. It's just depending upon the nature of the work that you're going to do. But again, the construction trade is quite tough. So that physical labor, working in the elements, being ready at a moment's notice, waking up early is always a big one in today's day and age, getting on the site at 6 o'clock in the morning. Those are kinds of things that you're going to run up against with apprenticeship.
Okay, thank you. So we've talked pre-apprenticeships, we've talked apprenticeships, we've talked internships. I'm going to want to loop back a little bit, and we touched on four-year colleges. I'd like to talk a little bit about community colleges and our two-year colleges. And this is a question for Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones, can you explain to us what an associate's degree is?
So an associate's degree is when you get to college and you study for 2 years. So there's a 2-year college, 2-year degree, and it's called an associate's degree, comprises of pretty much 60 credits. And it's broken up in, depending on your major, it's broken up into based on your area of concentration. And it's just 60 credits, comprising of all your basic core courses. And that's what makes it an associate's degree.
Excellent. Follow up with that is what are the benefits of a 2-year an associate's degree?
I think the benefits of a 2-year degree is for the student who cannot go long term, who sometimes I like to look at it as a short-term goal. And oftentimes a lot of our students, it's an easier milestone to reach. And you look at degrees, like for example, nursing degrees, associate's degrees, nursing degrees, and associate's degree, and an RN is an associate's degree. So you look at the careers and the money that you can make with a 2-year degree, and it's pretty impressive. But all you're doing is 60 credits comprising of mostly your area's concentration. So you can do an associate's degree in almost anything. And then that prepares you for a 4-year college degree. But the 2-year college degree oftentimes is a milestone for many people when they are really unsure of what they want to do. But then there are 2-year degrees, again, as I would say. You have a nursing degree. You have those in law enforcement. All they need is 60 credits to become a police officer. So you don't have to go further than that and make a good salary as in law enforcement. So there are so many advantages of. I myself did a 2-year degree. That's where I started. A lot of times you come as immigrants to this country, you're not sure of the education system. It's a good way to start until you figure out how you want to proceed with your life, or really what you want to do. So that 2-year gives you the opportunity to figure it out, to find out what you really want to do. And for many, it's also less expensive. You go to the CUNY, on the CUNY level, you're spending a lot less money. And a lot of our students, our immigrant students, are not able to afford it. So it gives you the opportunity to spend your time. You can pay as you go. You pay as you go. It's $6,000+ you're not paying $30,000, $40,000. So you take your time, you earn those credits. Today I worked with a student, and she had English was not her first language, but it was so good to see her get over the remedial stuff that she didn't do in high school to get there, to get to these milestones. And it's easier. It's an accomplishment that seems so much more rewarding than looking forward to 4 years where you have 100 and so much credits, and then you can't make that. But 60 credits is reachable. And the city university and the state university have all these incentives with ASAP and all these programs to make sure that you get that 2-year degree in the time frame.
Excellent, thank you. And I've got 3 really good follow-up questions coming from our chat room. One is, I think you touched on this, but wanted to make sure, are associate degrees career focused?
Yes and no. Because if you do a degree in liberal arts, it's just a general degree, right? It's not really career focused. But if you do a degree, like a nursing degree, it is career focused. So I would say yes and no. It depends on what you want. Depends, people may do a degree in sociology. Is it career focused? Probably not, or psychology. Unless you go on to do maybe advanced degree, then it becomes more career focused. Okay. So I would say yes and no.
That's a no. All right. And how hard or easy is it to go from a 2-year college to a 4-year program? I
think very easy. I think once you get into a 2-year college, you have your rhythm, and the transfer officers are there to help you. You're guaranteed a spot once you finish a 2-year college in any other, in CUNY, once you finish a 2-year college, you're guaranteed to get your credits, all your credits transferred.
Okay, thank you. Next question is to the entire panel. It's an excellent question from one of our participants. It is, and they state, what are good starting jobs, apprenticeships, or internships in general?
What are good starting jobs? I'm not entirely sure what the question is asking.
Maybe if they could follow up on that question, that might be helpful. Maybe some good suggestions on starting jobs, apprenticeships, or internships.
I think it definitely depends upon which industry you're interested in. And oh, was there some follow-up that might have popped up there?
Um,
They don't follow through. I think, I mean, it depends. So pre-apprenticeship is a really good place to start. If there are pre-apprenticeships in your area in a variety of industries, like Zivan had said, and like I've said before, they are kind of a taste of what the apprenticeship will continue to be. So it really is the step where you can figure out if apprenticeship is going to be right for you. Again, it depends if you want to be in construction, or if you want to be in healthcare, or if you want, you know, what career direction you are interested in. That would be helpful to know before you begin, so you can start to research what opportunities possibly in pre-apprenticeship are out there. You know, as far as internships are concerned, I have done a number of internships in my day. I might talk a strong game about apprenticeship, and I do really love it. But I myself have 2 college degrees and have done 4 internships. So I can talk about those as well, no problem. But some really great ones are just around even kind of just depending again about what you're interested in, but it's about anything that gains interpersonal skills where you're really going to work with people. I always think is a fantastic internship. So something that's not necessarily sitting behind a desk all day, while you can still gain some good skills there, something where you're really going to work with more people. If that's in an administrative capacity, great. If that's more hands-on in the community, helping with programming, you can also do this all via volunteering as well. So if you're not 100% sure, and maybe you just can do something maybe once a week, that's volunteering in that way is also great. But anything where you have more connection to individuals, where you can build your skills interpersonally. You can also maybe have different connections to different employers if the opportunity presents itself in the internship to maybe go to different community-based organizations or go to different businesses. I also think that that would be a really great internship or apprenticeship to be a part of. So I know that's really broad, but.
Casey, I can't help but to think how wonderful the Summer Youth Employment Program is that the city of New York has. And it's for 14 to 24-year-olds. So it's that age where you just want some experience. And getting an experience as, you know, it could be just 14 years old interpersonal skills. You're learning to conflict resolution. Some of those skills that you're not going to learn, maybe not in your classroom setting, but you get to learn on the job in that setting. And then going on to the CUNY Corp, where we take those internships, and now they're getting to work in a law firm because they have an interest in law. They're getting to work in a hospital, in medical, because that's where the interest is. And this is one opportunity that I think that everybody who qualifies in New York from between 16 and 24, once they qualify, they should take advantage of, because it's a paid internship and you get to experience work in your area of interest.
I will just echo that for anybody that's not in New York specifically. A lot of states have that summer youth employment program. So I would definitely connect possibly through your high school or even a community-based organization. Yes. There are a lot of those across the country. So definitely reach out and see what's available.
And Zivan, you raised your hand?
I just wanted to remind people that you don't have to pick one and stick with it for the whole rest of your life. There's plenty of mobility and options within all of these structures that we're talking about. And I just wanted to make a comment about a liberal arts degree. I myself have a liberal arts degree, and it stood me in really good stead in just informing my understanding of the world around me. So that was one experience that has helped. It served as a stepping stone to sort of augment and supplement what I'm doing now. Additionally, my time in the military taught me a lot. It was a life experience that informed a lot of how I lead and a lot of just the discipline that I have. And it gave me a lot of life skills that are really, really helpful in my life now. And I also want to remind people that it's equally important to know what you don't want to do as what you do want to do. So maybe you join a pre-apprenticeship program thinking that you're really going to like something and you don't. I originally went into the pre-medical field after I graduated college thinking I wanted to do that. I did a year of that and said, absolutely not. I cannot commit 10, 12 years and a lot of money to that. I crossed it off the list, went back to the drawing board, had a couple conversations with myself internally, reassessed and went from there. So you're not locked into things for the rest of your life. The professional landscape now is such that from here to there is not linear. You can go all around, up, down, inside out, you name it. Grab all the experiences and opportunity that you can. Training and education can never be taken away from you. And you would be surprised how many of those experiences are really important down the line in ways that you couldn't have even predicted 5, 10, 15, 3 minutes ago for that matter, you know? So just don't be afraid.
Thank you. Kevin, you raised your hand.
Yeah, you know, these are all really great responses. And I'd like to just add, you know, within the context of a high school, we're learning and we're encouraging our students to really provide those recommendations on potential partners that we should explore, right? Like the industry, no matter what industry you're talking about, they're interested in working with schools. They're interested in working with diverse communities and diverse populations. And we're talking about New York City public schools alone. You know, it is an enormous amount of interest to build those bridges. And, you know, oftentimes teachers and school leaders don't have the necessary bandwidth or systems in place to really develop the rapport that they need with certain industry partners. But that's when we ask students like, hey, if you have a nice idea, if you have a potential contact, if you found something online, if there's a community-based organization or an industry or an industry partner potentially from the private sector that you'd like to connect with the school, you know, we want to encourage students to come forward and say, hey, try this out, explore this. And for the most part, when that happens, and we as the educators reach out to those potential partners, I mean, the response is incredible, right? Folks want to work with us. Folks want to develop partnerships. They want to build inroads, and they want to create a pipeline, if you will, to that potential workforce. And they understand the value of the diverse talent pool that exists in New York City alone, right? So, you know, there's a lot of incentives for companies and for, you know, cultural partners to really tap into to our students and our schools. And we want to be able to encourage that, but it has to be, you know, with the support of students. It has to be a conversation that happens with them where they're engaged and they have buy-in. And we want to be able to welcome students and encourage students to find those partners for us and essentially help broker those potential deals. And that's what's happening at Art and Design alone, where students are coming to us and saying, hey, Mr. Lopez, there's this really cool company that we want to work with. There's a cool animation company that just popped up here in New York. Can we reach out to them? And literally just an email or a phone call can build out a partnership that's sustainable over many years. So we want to encourage young people also to step up and help develop those partnerships for the schools and for industry partners.
So Alex, let me just add on to what Kevin is saying. So here we have these amazing opportunities, but one of the things that I find lacking is that we get our students and nobody has a resume. They don't know how to put together anything so you don't even know where to begin. So what I would encourage our students to do is to begin to just log what you do. If you do something, write it down. If you volunteer, write it down. If you spend 6 weeks in France or in the south of the South, write it down. And so that we can compile, when you come to see us, we can put something together for you. And oftentimes I find that I meet a lot of them and I don't know where to start, but yet still they have done so much. So I would encourage, as you begin from high school, begin to put that together so that when you meet your counselors, when you meet the other people, when you network, when you meet somebody else out there who may have an interest, when you find a mentor, you have something together so you can start it at a different place.
I will say that coming out of a pre-apprenticeship program, everybody that comes out of a pre-apprenticeship program knows how to has a resume prepared, has great interview skills, and is really set up for that type of success. So kudos to you, Casey. I can tell a distinct difference between people that come in sort of off the street to my interview versus individuals that have come out of a pre-apprenticeship program. By and large, they are infinitely more prepared for this professional landscape than individuals who haven't. So keep it up, Casey.
Thank
Excellent.
you.
Thank you, Wal. I've noticed the time is running short, but we've got a couple of questions we still need to get out there, or would like to get out there. One is the role of certifications. What are they, and what is the benefit? And that this is a question to the panel.
So I can start.
Certifications and,
Oh,
sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
No, I mean, it's a brief response, at the high school level, particularly in a school like ours, a CTE school. Like I said before, those certifications are required for that CTE endorsed diploma. But aside from that, it's such a powerful tool to have on your resume for these students. And again, a good portion, a good reasoning for why many of these businesses or many of these companies are looking for the talent pool at our schools, because they're being certified as early as freshman year, sophomore year in high school. I mean, our sophomores are all certified in Adobe Photoshop, right? Our seniors are all certified in Adobe Premiere, right? Our architecture students are certified in AutoCAD and Revit. I mean, the list goes on, and it's important, again, through the support of the CTE office, that those certifications become really integral to the success of our students and to the success of the program. So I think that, there was a point where certifications really were introduced at higher level students or higher grade students, or even in college. We want to be able to even bring in we're having a discussion right now at our high school that perhaps sophomore year, their second year of high school, is too late for them to get their Photoshop certification. But we want to perhaps introduce that even sooner. And what we're realizing is that students, kids, young people are responding very well to these exams with the right preparation. And we want to get them early on, and we want to be able to have our students build upon that. So that's my response on certifications and the importance of them at the high school level.
I'll just tack on and say that, certifications, certificates, in whatever way, shape, or form that they come, are really just a good indication for me and for other people kind of looking into your background or looking into your career journey of your dedication to learning. I always think that the more, certifications can be stackable. They're great. There's an additional, they're kind of nice kind of chunks of education to learn by and to gain a skill in that you can then build on. If maybe you want to, you try something out and you get a small certification for it and you say, hey, I really like that. There's the opportunity to gain more as you go along and become more skilled and increase your knowledge and your learning. And so whether you choose an apprenticeship or an internship, whatever your path is, getting a certificate or a certification is a fantastic way to show that you really are engaged, and that learning, learning is a lifelong journey, so that you're still continuing to gain skills and to continue to learn. So I thoroughly love certifications. They can be built into programs. They can be something you do individually, separately on your own time. So it's definitely, from a hiring perspective, also looks really great for somebody to kind of find, even just try something out and get certified in it and see, hey, this might be helpful down the line in my career. It might not be something you ever use again, but at least you have that knowledge to kind of use as a springboard and go forward from there.
Excellent, thank you. We have another question from the chat room. Another question actually is near and dear to my heart as I run a special ed school. Here we go. What advice would you give to students who learn differently, where currently they get modifications and accommodations, or where possible social skills may not be a strength?
So I can speak to that from the kind of construction side of things in the sense of pre-apprenticeship programming. What we do is really much from, in Building Futures, we run our 5-week training, which is honestly on the short side of things. There are many pre-apprenticeships that are much longer than 5 weeks. But in our programming, we have social and emotional supports that are built into the programming. So, if someone comes into our program and they are, a good candidate and we want to bring them in, but, they're having trouble finding childcare, or maybe they have trouble with math scores. that's, we have, we have resources, we have tutors, we have accommodations that are available to those individuals so that they can be successful in our pre-apprenticeship, and that those resources can be helpful to them once they leave us as well. We're able to connect with them going forward. If they choose apprenticeship and they've got that resource that's going to help them with their math or help them with their learning, maybe reading ability or what have you, that will carry with them through their apprenticeship. And hopefully they learn some skills while they're with us that they can take forward. And so that's just something that I could say, that happens for us with construction, with Building Futures, but most pre-apprenticeships do have those educational and social supports built into them. That's part of the programming, is to try and, break down those barriers, or even just maybe if they're not a barrier, just assist in whatever ways that we can. So from the pre-apprenticeship side of things, I would say if there's a pre-apprenticeships in your area for the industry that you're interested in, look into those and ask about those accommodations, what they have available. So that's what I can say to that.
So for my level, we have accommodations, whether it's going to be extended time for exams, or it's going to be tutoring, extra tutoring outside of their traditional classwork. We have that. We have clubs that we have them become involved in, and those really help. And then we do academic skills coaching, and I think that has been really powerful to many of our students, for the simple reason that a lot of them just don't know how to study. So we create these modules, so we teach them, if it's even on time management, what does it mean to have a schedule? I want to know what your day looks like from the minute you wake up to the time you go to bed. And I want you to plug in your classes in there. And I want you to assign time for studying, time for play, time for walking the dog, time for seeing your therapist. And I want you to come back. And every week they would come and we would just discuss these things. Let me see how this is working. What are you doing that? Why did you exclude this from your daily to-do list? Is it because you didn't want us to know? So those are things that we do. And I think the academic skills coaching have been really, really powerful. And we do them one-on-one, and we do them in a club-like setting, where as a group you can talk about it, and we discuss it, and you're free to discuss it. It's a safe space. And I think those accommodations really help, just to know that you don't have to be pressured. You can have your exams through Sonogram, or you can have your textbooks downloaded. If you don't understand how to use the textbooks, somebody's there to help you. So those accommodations work.
Okay, thank you. All right, it is 7:13, soon to be 7:14, and I'm going to, this is where we end our questions, and I am going to pass it along to Mary, and she will say, she will close out this discussion.
Yeah, I mean, thank you, everybody. That was wonderful, and thanks for joining us today. I hope everybody feels like, as excited as I do about apprenticeships. So I always think it's such a great path. I do want to just remind everyone there are a couple more presentations. Tomorrow there's a presentation on getting your finances in order if you're planning to pay for college tuition in the near future. And there's another workshop for students who may be thinking about writing their college essay or kind of stuck. A really good one on Saturday. So check our schedule. We are also going to send you a survey after this. Give us feedback. We are excited to improve our panels for the future, and your feedback will help us to decide how to keep this project going, hopefully, and even expand on it. So thanks everybody, and you'll get an email from us also next week, probably with a list of resources and contact information for the amazing organizations represented here tonight. Thank you, Zivin. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Casey, and thank you, Alex, for everything. And good luck, everybody, with your next step.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
you, thank you,
Take
thank
care,
you.
everybody.
Take
Adios.
care.
Be
Bye,
well.
Casey.
Oh,
Kevin.
and I'm sorry, Dr. Jones. Thank you, Dr. Jones. Sorry.